Yo nyamema yebema yenyina ye ho adwo enwumrei yeda onyame ase bebre ewo nadom ene ne humobra wama na doso pi amaye yeda na se ne homeden so waye yadom edi ya shemu na wotwe mu nyina yekọ ye nantisi ahodo so nyina in all our endeavors. God has been faithful to us. Wodi akọ dia betume bi kra na emu ye den na sini nyina no odi yekọ edi ye bai enti enwumre ye bema ye nyina ye ho akwaba stronko pastor ye bema o ajo enwumre.
Happy Sabbath.
Happy Sabbath na wacho apomwe
Amiadum yehoya pa
na wotwe mu emse nsembebre na ekoso na mgidi se ene onyame adom so yebefa eniema ni bi mu mako ene adusua wo maye na ansane yebehya ase no mebɔ mpaye ama yede adi anim timpacho mo maye mmɔ mpaye yene ja wo soro enwumrei yeda wase yeyiwa ye kamfo odin ye hye odin kronkron animonyam yeda wase bebre wakwanuase nyina so se wo ne yedi ne ye wona mo kyerosem so edan ne manyina di kyerɛ yɛn wodɔ yɛn na wohwehwɛ sɛ wo ba biara enyira nti de biara da wo nya yɛ kasa kyerɛ ne ekoso bia ebesie wiase awie yɛn mu bia no science ahodo biara ene nia ebedi uma oba Yesu Kristo maye toso mienu ho nsɛnkyerɛ ni nyina wadan adi ɛwɔ kyerosem omfa bibia hintae anwumre nso yɛda wase sɛ wama yenya akwanya na woma yebesua wo ho nsɛm yetu akwa Derick Asare nsa yɛsrɛ sɛ ma ho kronkron mɛhyɛ ne ma anwumre nso na yɛsrɛ sɛ ɔmfa no mum na ɔmfa ho kronkron fa wasɛm ɛmfa ne so ɛmma yenyina yɛde a yɛtie nyina nso ɛhyɛ wo nsa baabi a yɛtie free bra sɛ yɛwɔ Zoom yi so YouTube ana baabi a yɛsrɛ sɛ ka yɛnyina yɛ ho na ma yɛnya w'anim adom ɛnte wasɛm ase na yɛwie ne yɛde bibia bɛwie yɛn konimdie mu a ɛho anea wasiesie ama yɛn po as ankrankra yɛn asasafo mpo ɛwie yɛn mmerɛ mu no wonam wadom so ade adom yɛ ɛnwumre yɛda wase bebree sɛ wɔtie yɛn mpaebɔ ɛwɔ Jesus Christ din mu amen.
Amen.
Yo pastor yebesan ama o adwobio na enwumre say every last time yeshia ya na ye discuss climate change and international Sunday law enyema bebre na ye bobo so ebi obi afena wa join ye foforo kra we dwumadie ya ye to yensa Emma nyina yɛtie dwumadie nyina na akwaba yɛto yɛnsa frɛm sɛ momɛka yɛ ho efiade bia na yɛka sɛ pastor anka wɔ sima anase few sentences mu no ka bue adesua a wode ma yɛ last week ni nyina so ma yɛ na atiefoɔ ntimi nya nyina so bi ne deɛ na ato aso
yo eda me da se sɛ wohwɛ yɛhyɛ yɛadesua na se na yɛsua climate change and a document be a friend say Laudato Si and a international Sunday law. Na my main share screen no said the bear or be a honomoa or benya quenya na whom baby a free any baby a beduno a mubeda ho. And he said the kaya no ended the you see a world religions ti eno yamba so but the year ka another reading kaya kano a year climate change. Na climate change broni beka se enema esesa wo wiem obi ho ane se sisie no baabi a insuo etopa no insuo entobiem na ehonomo aye dry baabi ehonomo na ogyahyehyie ye wo flood any all these things are ekoso enti ewiase nimdiefo any ewiase amanyofo wiase mpanyifo na no ese ewiemu asesa tie friends climate change and omoka se sa ewiemu a asesa no se ya anya bibi amfa ho a ebetu nipa ana se be kakra nya bebi nkyina biem na the way a omosi akwan no betumi summarize ni say yes ye global problem ye global if we say ye nyina ye ti asasi so enti last year na me share mu say the kind pa no the premise ana the nyina so say the earth is common home for all yasasa ye ti sui no ɛno na America for Europe for Ghana for ɛmmoa nnua yɛn nyinaa yɛte so ɛno na yɛyɛ common home. The second premise anaa nyinaso ɛtɔ so mmienu yɛ sɛ saa yɛ common home yi no ɛwɔ problem ɔhaw a ɔwɔ ne sɛ climate na asesa enti ama baabi hɔ nom a temperature no ɛkɔ soro na temperature no ɛkɔ soro wɔ wiase nyinaa nti no ama baabi hɔ nom a ka wɔ sɛ ice na ɛwɔ hɔ nom a ice no ɛnane baabi hɔ nom a wɔ sɛ mmoa te sɛ elephant ɔmo habitat na baabi a ɔmo tena no ɛno nso na ɛyɛ dry na ɛyɛ so serious sɛ yɛanyɛ biribi amfa ho a yɛ common home yi no ɛbɛ kakra no wanhwɛ yɛnya baabi nkyina. A document I hear consider and say our common home is falling into serious disrepair. Now the third one no esan say asase so na obi atinti no ende na how no enye Ghana for how enye Europe for how enye America for how obi how international and global and universal problem enti e was say ye nyina ye back together na ye nyina ye be solve sa common enemy climate change eno na ye hu say Pope Francis document bi your friend Laudato Si na sa document na ye no eno na the problem no na odifani problem ni wie ye no ena kwanya ye be fa so a ye be solve sa problem no na omani eba bebre in fact your chapters ahodo but at the last chapter no the last one no one of the proposals and the major proposals what they ma wiase sudifo nyina kwanya be fa so be solve climate change no Sunday kosiada yedesom enti ende no ebra ye koso no na ye san so summarize no mesa kosa part no ansana ebikrampa yato aso.
Yo, Pastor, da si bebre pa. Say a fake crowd no be a joining ya. What the way I will see a bot of fano. What you na ya gini esiso. Yem pese ye chair home crowd. Ye say ye call ene adisuano so. Ene adisuano adisuya emu edo. Esan say ye osumu any climate change, any international law. Sa niema miense ene ni na akabum. Na Pastor, ye shasiye no bi ye bebusa say. Why is this so important? I identify na sa topic ene ye babi sunye no ehun ehia pa na se ehun ehia pa so ye musa se yenso ye yakwanhwefo yenso ye esom ti de kan identify na ehun ehia. Why is this important? And na yenso ye akwanhwefo yi no what is the mission of the SDA Church? I was Sanyema Elkosu Enyinemu no. Ebra will introduce you the topic na what they went so atwaso amaye.
Eda medasi bebre se wo hwe trosem mu a ensem a ye ke nyina no eye trosem na ye bigina so na ye dey compare enema ekoso. Enti Yesu ka asem yo se me ka twremo na ebemu abohu se me kan ye. Onyankopon emozo se onye bibia kise wadan de di akire ne nkwadifo. Oko Revelation chapter 13 Bible tell say the last final struggle no ebeye worship and now say the great controversy eshasie papa any bone bonsam anyone na otie bonsam ana bonsam betumi ada wo ma convince wo mo any onyankopon anyone na oye sitie maro no o say ekon ne kwawie ye wadisem etira eye edumiensa na o say ejina osom so hwan na besom no na eno na Bible no ma ye hu say papacy and now Rome tumi no sa the Roman Catholic institution. Now we should be able to distinguish between the Roman Catholic institution and Roman Catholics. And no one say onipa bebre ohono mu a ebi ko ampa mu ko Rome sorry ba omu nim de ekoso. But we are talking about sa institution no Bible say obenya tumi na tumi ni be free nsa na tumi ni free nsa o se nsa besa ka sa tumi no na okinkan edisem etire yeduni nsa Revelation chapter 13 or say nsa beka sa tumi no na wiase nyina betu aginachi or say all the world will wander after the beast no a symbol egina homa tumi eti the Roman Catholic institution in 1798 eba form no Bible say ne nsabeka tumi no na ewiase na betu edinachi na kwanya sa conflict no bewie no ebeba begina osomo so se hwan na besomo no na Bible ma yehu se kosiada a eye the mark of the Roman Catholic institution no obeto ama wiase nyina etu edi ekire na eno ene wonyame homeda no aba begina enimu ni enimo enti 7th-day Adventist onyame erezi ye se yemma wiase nyina enhu enema ekoso no a efa osommu eni die ebesi ewo eweye bremu said ebeya nipa betumi atinyame ase na omawo nyame afa efise okay edisem etreye du and na Revelation 14 no there is a warning bi ohonomo a eye so serious chese niema Bible kafa nyame hono we edefua osisi obi koto aboade de hodi no na wagine gina ye di sin nsa na ne moma so a wose wono no obenum onyankopon ebufo nsa wohwie ne gine chese eye serious threat. And God has raised 7th-day Adventists to say yemma wiase empty the issues na say said they can make the best choices ewo won kwaje on na mame widi bibi ewo testimonies na emwaye na yehu 7th-day Adventists denchia eniema weisi a Yesu ano ewo se ye ti ase na yemfa nche ye hu ye ni afufuro be hye or say I'm reading from Testimonies to the Church, volume 9, page 19, or say, in a special sense, 7th-day Adventists have been set in the world as watchmen and light bearers. To them has been entrusted the last warning for a perishing world. On them is shining wonderful light from the word of God. They have been given a work of the most solemn import, the proclamation of the first, second, and third angels' messages. There is no other work of so great importance. They are to allow nothing else to absorb their attention. In the 7th-day Adventist Church, Unyami a raise ye, say yembeye, wana woye watchmen, and a watchmen, na ye light bearers. Na yemma ewiase a eko say yimuno enhu enema ekoso in the proclamation of sa obofo a wodi kan no obofo otoso mienu a wo team say Babylon ahwe ase ene obofo a wotoso miensa a oka say yemfiri mumfi na yankonom sa Babylon ni nhyehyeye ne na atro nhyerehye no na onyankopon bufu amba yen so na de oka ne say o si ade bie ni honom a eye important essence say SDA and a 7th-day Adventist sa kania nyamedi amaye no yebema ewiase nyire ehu. There is another important dimension emma de ye ehu here. Okay, Testimonies to the Church, the same book now, volume 9, page 20. Or say, now this is very crucial. Or say, are we to wait until the fulfillment of the prophecies of the end before we say anything concerning them? Of what value will our words be to them? Shall we wait until God's judgments fall upon the transgressor before we tell him how to avoid them? Let us read and understand before it is too late. All can say, Kusiada enshisheye, any osumu enshisheye, any enema kosono, unyame adane di edi akreye. Ti all can say, so tientina hona yemfa no kwasemu yi enhye ye ho ewa brekwa yen kan kire wo bia na ewieye ne ba wia na yaka kire wo mo na se ewieye ne ba na se yaka kire wo mo a enye na sansem no mfaso be ne wo so akwa ti se obi koto amnemu na wo ye din ma ne pakọ koto amnemu efri se wo ka enye popular truth eti wo ye din na ne pakọ koto amnemu na okoto amnemu wie ye no na wo be ka kire ne se minua na minim se beebi a wo kono na amna wo ho na banka o se me ye ntwen ma wonyame bufuo ene wonyame nsem a waka no emma nipa so ansa na yatiem enti a very important mission that wonyame edi acheye. Now another thing so Testimonies volume 5 okay page 452 now say God has revealed what is to take place in the last days, that his people may be prepared to stand against the tempest of opposition and wrath. Enti yɛne nso ɛyɛ akwanhwɛfoɔ a wɔnyame adan saa nokwasɛm yi edi no, ɛwɔ sɛ ɛboa yɛn na yɛsiesie yɛn ho. Enti wei ni nyinaa ɛyɛ nneɛma a Broni bɛka sɛ ɛyɛ a solemn responsibility, a privilege yɛdi kan sɛ nyame adan na ɛdi akyerɛ yɛn, but a solemn responsibility sɛ yɛn nso yɛ ne afoforɔ bɛkyɛ na yɛama ɔsɛyɛ amma nipa so ansa na yɛaka akyerɛ ɔmo sɛ menua na minimu ɔbɛka sɛ wonim ɛna wanka nkyerɛ me wompɛm asɛm.
Pastor, this is very interesting, Paul. It sounds as a quotation we are with the Maya Noir. And they said the Bible can't say, they said the not to say a very important. It's not just say a brave why do we even need to give out the message now? I didn't know Sabri. And they say, Yema, and Rane Honomo, but I say in recent times, I be very crucial. Now, me say at the end, who said recently, this has become the message. Now, why Intina, as I said, Sabri pa and says, you didn't say me echo.
Say, who follow a Nema Ercoso at the Broni Becca say on the geopolitical scale now. Ube say, Adia your friend say, civil liberties and now religious freedom and now Fahudia ye wano bafom. Na measures bebre koswa amanya hodo eyi fa hodie efri hodom enti no ye wo kwan bi ene ebre bi hodom a wo se yetumi eka ensemi emma enipa etia eye sabre enye se that we should move beyond say me catch there will be se be ye kina na wa be ye zi ni na mabonesu. That's not the purpose. We a life and death issue. People need to understand to make the correct decision. And you say, let's share the message. Yemman kofuenhu na enema na ekoswa nyamina will convict them. Nyamina the oma dibesu say, in fact, enema na watini na enokre na yehu bibi. Mamemo example, mielupe na ichire no as part of the enema yesu ano yebeba so religious freedom around the world. And na kruwa yetiboyi any die ekosu sisie. Now, very weekly, and now too in Europe, one of the major countries in Europe, one of the things Omo ye ho abobo ye pese pass home embra say so bimpo be ya sorry and now be preach here, the person must submit the sermon to the civil authorities. And that is the way in the America. And not just say so what for who dear so befa Bible kwa a preachy. Now what can the open? It is becoming a thing of the past. It is a Jimmy Castle. Now US has saying so bebre so ACC ye be look at those things into in a separate thing. And next say you was sembia ye beka ye will be bia ye besha ye need a bread. This is the time to share the media with others.
Right, because say trust media dance here say science akodo ekoso ai o ye kinkan wo trust ni nyina no AD adance here last time say now boss was say ewieye mre mu no enema ni nyina be sisi show ntina che say wo hwe mu a na che say ebrekura enni ho ma ye say ye betena se kra ye wo bibia say ye yo a ye now na ye betumi de ensem no akọ pastor na ye hwe world religions ahodo bebre ye wo Buddhism ne hwan zemzem ahodo bebre na ye wo Christofo esom ene nasefo ye den climate change in sem nyina foforo I say ni nyina are connected world religions climate change Sunday law track abena did that sa nyima nyina ntem
you heard that say say message here from the document na we are yahwe America na yahwe America we are na yaba behwe world religions no. And let me go back to the PowerPoint and do a quick summary of Laudato Si and the important role it play because Kai said Bible say papacy to be the Roman Catholic institution or say better take the center stage. na wonyamia some de no kwe de say we are just looking around us to see say the Bible ka no pemu sa pepepa na enti no na ye hwe sa la Dr. Sia Pope Francis etwoye all can climate change in ho asem and all offer solution and all sell it to all the kings of this world and all the world's religion no enti no be say bia nka yenhwe a summary of Dr. Sia no the last part na very important no na bia yewia yemhwe US so some few developments are so maybe a yakwa well religion connection no.
Sure, Pastor. Any I say a brief way we are US din a course yetepa US Vatican Alliance in light of Bible prophecy, particularly say we share Revelation 13 ho sign as US be so be na my sa light no fa US Vatican Alliance so etwa so my
sure that's it elder me be ka ho enti no moma yenko na yenhwe a quick summary we are near be sa US Vatican Alliance elder oka ehho asem no enti de yesua ehho ye say Laudato Si encyclical letter authoritative letter na written by Pope Francis and to say that that's not say encyclical letter Laudato Si of the Holy Father Francis on care for our common home. And in the previous presentations, the various components of the encyclical. Now the last component, me pese na yetisimu baby in the encyclical he makes an appeal to the leaders and for the leaders, the global leaders, the international leaders, and to the United Nations Organization and so European Parliament and various countries in na me pese me hear a quick overview of the appeal what they we ask for na yahwe sa the religious part any US it's part of the document said the summary of the document here said pollution in essay any essay your common home we need to restore our common home now what the fifth chapter now the solution what do we do and what can we do and I say interdependence obliges us to think of one world with a common plan. Enti we say we are seeing na kabom na yenya plan bako osanso ka say there should be a global consensus. Na global consensus no essential. Say the be ya ye betumi confront to the deeper problems na yetumi a resolve sanema no. Enti once again idea was we are seeing na ye kabom. And now Osaka say in page 127 enforceable international agreements. This is very important. Today, we emphasize it. United Nations organizations, they are on board. Yahweh, na omo pese ye jimbra ye share a law is no law if it cannot be enforced. Embra yen to me enshare enfwa yegmade enyembra entino at the international level I was saying to me be to me enforce sa proposals here but that to say eka ehho asem no into osaso kan say be lay down mutually agreed means otwaso a osaka say ye betumi impose obligations otwaso a enti we na ye din kan yesua e na ye sanso etitimo say ye be impose sanctions ahodo osaso kan say Benedict XVI enema a fast international order a part of the Catholic social teachings obobo sa dem we say ni so part of it yes ye be managing the global economy me maso because you were one huge aspect a global economics so what we say you can global research after pandemics now there is going to be a new economic order your friend be say Francesco economy enti eno de etire beba so enti ni nyina part of the package ni nyina eba be kabom at the international global level and now more appealing said there needs to be a world political authority I will say yenye obi a ewiase okasa yitie said the beya obedi yedim na ubehu say ni nyina no they are coming together beautifully, said the Oma Kanono. And one authoritative source of oversight and coordination, and establishing legal framework. And a summary at the international level, no, Pope Francis, our religious leader, or the way forward to solve climate crisis. We are see leaders now, so na yemfa mechanisms be a yebetumi enforce so na all document, the last part of the document, and na oka the true solution, because share a follow up to Laudato Si that the Pope Francis at the Vatican and the case is said technology any all other means ain't means of if you say a spiritual problem and so there should be a spiritual means to solve it. And by selling that, then he talks about ecological conversion. Kwanya ye best say about ecological issues. Now, at the center of the ecological conversion, then he makes the case for Sunday rest. And I say, sir, consider a bit to solve the problem. And yet at the forefront, it is at the back of it. Say you bet to me, I solve climate change crisis now. The ultimate solution is Sunday law. You didn't care. I'm just going through. Say the baby, the baby, and so to occur a Sunday, and a Eucharist. It's how Eucharist, and yet the high point. When you may adom immediate grace. Edimayen enti da say ye na be so na ye na be participate here the high point betumi dey solve climate crisis no if we say sa da no na betumi aboye heal your relationship with God be heal your relationship with one another be heal your relationship with the world, because at the United Nations any Pope Francis any Laudato Si no agenda na ye wonema be biensa interpersonal relationship and your relationship with asase as Samri and Waba Semino. Now, say Sunday Sabbatino, a bit me of course, a Sunday wants to heal our relationships. And he talks about the day of resurrection as Sunday, a buoyant to transfigure created realities. A bit more buoyant than in Yamani, society for a day of families, bit me relaxing. Let's say he makes a case. A benefit families in so a day nipa to me I dream every greedy a whole do be pray home na ya dream about say we are all connected into new quantity year to flow and he makes the case at the heart of Laudato Si say a day of rest centered on the Eucharist no a bebua a wiasifo nyina and so said Pope Francis eniabre na o appeal to United Nations. Now, it is more than an ecological issue, a spiritual issue, because according to how the problem is defined, a spiritual, and to solve it, we need moral guidelines. It has been provided in Laudato Si, and the world religions, any faith traditions now, they have also bought into this. Now, politicians, United Nations organizations, European Parliament, to pursue this common agenda. Now, a idea say Ghana munina de who ADH but yanka same way. Na elder Ubusami said the Vatican US alliance in this. Now, this is very, very crucial. Now, the Vatican-US alliance, it goes back beyond your president or so. A brand your man penny that onya the baby called Mazo Free, a year or man penny Trump. Now, can we say we are not talking about say Trump in a year and now Biden a year, man yourself. What we are doing, say we are just looking at Bible prophecy in light of. And that's a current events. Yeah, when Yama Ecoso, and they compare and Yama trust them Eka. And to say, oh, my penny way, and a year now, my penny way, no, that is not our focus. Now, and no any Yukuma. Yende, a man penny be our body, the old Cobiano, the year can say, and Yama Ben Ecoso, Nadia Nebe to me, Ama Yehu, the Ecoso, in light of Bible prophecy. Now, okay, Trump, a boy, your man penino, or nay, Pope Francis Asia, now, oh, man, a very significant gift. Say we can get together to pursue a common thing. Now, me per se, na a course one any document, you know.
Trump and the Pope today, they're meeting at the Vatican, although they have had very public differences over the last year. As the president was leaving, he was heard telling the Pope, "I won't forget what you said." ABC's chief White House correspondent Jonathan Karl on the gift from the Pope that sent a signal.
The Pope and the President, the ultimate odd couple. Their meeting may have seemed a little awkward at first, a beaming president standing next to a stoic Pope Francis. After it was over, though, the president called the meeting an honor.
He is something. He is really great. We had a fantastic meeting.
The president arrived at the Vatican greeted by the iconic Swiss Guard and a long red carpet, a welcome filled with pageantry. It wasn't long ago that these two men had a very public feud. The Pope last year saying then candidate Donald Trump's call to build a wall was not Christian.
Non è cristiano.
Candidate Trump reacting angrily.
For a religious leader to question a person's faith is disgraceful.
But today, here at the Vatican, the two began with a friendly handshake. The Pope gave the president a copy of his encyclical, where he makes a passionate case to fight climate change. At meetings today, the Vatican urged the president not to drop out of the Paris Accord on climate change, and the president promised to consider the Pope's request.
Okay, and you know, two significant things, and I'm a person so the Edika no idea a here Vatican when the US air kabum no woman air stress and bra Pope Francis on Trump MET, you know, the gift achedia or demand no a la dato see ye na yen kambum na yen fight climate change. Remember, say at the heart of la dato see no the Pope's solution a year Sunday rest as the ultimate solution. There have been many documents. Now, one of the things I may encourage you is to read more about this because there is so much information. Said we can't even share all of them. But the way say no, this is very important. It is at the center of the climate change crisis. Now, beyond some meeting, no, me share other things and so. Ebra yinya oman penin foforo no then oman penin foforo because Trump efremu and oman penin foforo no ka say he will come back and you know over paper your friend of foreign policy January 31st 2020 you know or say President Biden comes into office uniquely positioned to work productively with a powerful ally in the Vatican. They are fighting an existential threat. Climate change. Now, this is very important. The title of Sir article no published in Sir Foreign Policy no or say Biden and Pope Francis could make a climate change miracle. Biden and Pope Francis omubetumi ama ensisaya aba climate change mu and I said miracle just idea one into the subheading said how the new US leader and liberal pontiff, like president and popes before them, can cooperate to transform American politics. Now, and there's all follow news, and they officially the United States are joining climate change. Biden by the first day now of signing executive orders. He signed an executive order say US and some go back to climate. Now end the day, end the very day, and I take effect. And the end of the day, US as are joining Paris climate accord. No, na muma yenti and what's from over our Dan friends John Kerry.
Today, as you've heard and as you know, it is absolutely official. The United States is once again a party to the Paris Agreement. And I'm proud and pleased with that fact, but it also places on us a special responsibility. We rejoin the international climate effort with humility and with ambition. Humility, knowing that we lost 4 years during which America was absent from the table, and humility in knowing that today no country and no continent is getting the job done. But also with ambition, knowing that Paris alone will not do what science tells us we must do together. At the COP in November, this November, when we go to Glasgow, all nations must raise our sights, must raise ambition together, or we will all fail together.
Well, the US said the energy agreement. Na womo beye omo ade nyina se wotie ya free na ekwe no niema omo ya hodo no all nations first na shase say 5 years ago omo shase no obi amomode now no the language is changing. All nations must this is very significant, but more so important about the Vatican, any US alliance in end time events, other things krampa ewomu adofo se wonim de enkom sheka Jesus study Revelation chapter 13, the Vatican no the first beast no any the second beast no ni be kabo mo be man tumia. It is very, very important. Or say, in the same article, no, or say Pope President combination could fundamentally change the world. They are working miracles. And I say, can they work miracles to change the world? Now, as someone can say, Pope Francis, the largest religious organizations, America, the greatest nation, our more carbono, sa combination, could fundamentally change the world. Well, because Bible see these two entities, they are going to play the key role in the final crisis. Now, part of that statement, my financial context, the full context, they say Biden and Pope Francis are in their 70s and 80s respectively. And while both are at the top of their respective hierarchies, they have a relatively brief window of opportunity, which, like an earlier Pope-President combination, could fundamentally change the world. Today, they are talking about other popes to be omnipresident Kabomo, and maybe by way there, Obugidi say, Omubetumi Ayaniema, a best reasonable, fundamentally. Well, on my examples, Paiben Nebefaswa, Omubetumi assistant a reasonable. People know they say. Ladaldo si and the boye Emma heads of states amushia ewo Paris aye kan wasem no omo embrace sa Paris climate agreement or say Francis ena a useful tool sa Ladaldo si no Emma omo nyina eba on board to say Francis can prove useful to Biden both in terms of his powerful evocation of environmental concerns, but also through practical leadership on the ground. Tipo Francis, obetumi abua US, ebuamu na fighting common way say we say no or a leader on the ground that in terms of this environmental thing obetumi abua. And after so your Archbishop will be your friend say Walton Gregory, womunina no ebebua to fight and then to push that agenda no. Now another thing is significant. Say, Kai say, ideas ni nano will go mainstream. Nipa bebre besu somo e was say nipa su somo buy into it in order to push it. Now the people can say with the Biden administration's decision to rejoin the Paris Initiative, the challenge now, as in 1963, is to convince more of the American public to shed their superstitions and tribal blunders and embrace the complex reality of an existential threat to the planet. Or say, Bra Biden didn't walk over Paris Initiative via Saladato si e pushima de be mua e pushi sa agenda no. The akapani say, you better convince America, the public, nipe wa America has say, na oma jatum say a yampa. This is something I was say, Obiadi in Hoshim. Now I say, Ahana or say Pope no, the son for so power, a bebu say, the Pope who has tried to appeal to all people of goodwill to tackle the threats of the environment can be of great help to Biden in persuading people of faith. Na unse enemy beka world religions, any interfaith dialogue. And this is important. Said the launching pad ebeboa to launch into kwanya osuma hodo nyina no edi omo ho chim, because people say Pope Francis can be of help to persuade people of faith that there are no liturgical and theological roadblocks to combating global warming, just as there were none to seeking to reduce the danger of, okay, with the point here said, na yenya Buddhists, Hindus, Nkrimofo on the interfaith dialogue, no, na yenya on the Christosome for no Pentecost, Methodist, and the Safoni now say, Pope Francis can be obia or to persuade Safoni to buy into this agenda. Said the Beya or move to be a pushy. And this is very, very significant. Said now we are moving from just relay political agenda a year politics, but we are now looking at kwanya or some any asuma who do in abem. And you know the last part I'm quote to Namidiano was it Francis's encyclical was strategically timed to influence the Paris Climate Agreement. It is our encyclical, so you know, it was released at the right time, strategically. So there be a big influence, a big influence. It was our Paris Climate Change, agreement. Now, you become any affair. World religions, any interfaith, any Kwanya Pope Francis, a man of his stature and influence. Bible said the who be you reacting in our by young head the echo na young fan confirm na young who say the Bible can be ano correct. And Adakuma the person having given this now your TC world religions and interfaith dialogue no. What do you think?
Yeah, Pastor, this is very interesting power because Usha say we are kwanhwani say ya kwanhwefo sorry say Pentecost so ye den no I say onya obi a wo mu because na say ni etete say imbia meetings be kokoso entina che say this is a very serious issue. I'm happy say enyumre you are sharing with us amaye hunu senia ewiase somo ahodo ani gidi ahodo nyina no ka bom aye asode I said pope no edi abamu ani pa nti ebia se ka betimi akomu amaye hunu senia sa gidi ahodo ne somo ahodo no enso ka bom asosa agenda pope yi assetting mu aka beboa pa
yo weda enti no ebra ladato si ba ye no world leaders Asia ye our Paris every climate accord no. This was the response from religions ahodo na moma yentie and I share here from this video religions ahodo also ebemu.
Pope Francis has released his encyclical calling all people to be good stewards of the earth as a call to action in the lead up to the UN Climate Summit in Paris in December.
The very fact that arguably the most important religious figure is addressing this issue highlights how enormously significant and important it is for all of humanity.
God gave it to us as a garden. We cannot bequeath it as a wilderness.
بحيث أن من قرأ القرآن تكون له نظرة على الكون يعيش مع الكون كأنه جزء منه ويقول ولا تفسدوا في الأرض بعد إصلاحها.
I commend His Holiness and all faith and scientific leaders here today for raising awareness of the urgent need to promote sustainable development and climate change.
The Pope makes it clear he's not a scientist, but at the very same time, he tells us all, listen to what scientists are telling us.
Science and religion are coming together. The more we understand about the world, the more amazing we realize it is. We can certainly unite to preserve this remarkable planet.
I think it's a tremendously rich times where we can see the interface of science and spirituality. And this for me is really hopeful.
The encyclical concludes with a multi-religious prayer. Every religious tradition has its own religious and spiritual resources to help us protect our common home.
اسلام تأکید زیادی بر حفظ طبیعت داره و حمایت از طبیعت داره.
ដូចនេះហើយបានក្រុមប្រឹក្សា
เรื่องพุทธศาสนาเราจะรีบจอมដើម្បីដើររំសន្តិនិកគ្នាឯតែវិភាសាគ្នាដើម្បីដំណោះស្រាយ
We are not the owners of the earth. We are stewards, have inherited the earth, and we have to keep it to handle it over to the next generations.
In the weeks and months leading up to Paris, the religious leaders of all the traditions are going to be calling us to stand up, to take action, to make this historic change that lies before us.
This climate change issue has to be talked about in every church, every temple, every synagogue, and every mosque.
It's not one organization, it's not one unit, not one person. It's going to be combined effort from public, private, different industries that are actually going to solve this problem.
Pope Francis is imploring us to care for the earth in new kinds of ways. And I believe that as all of our interreligious leaders come together, the world will respond accordingly.
With the encyclical, Pope Francis has issued an urgent call to take action to protect the planet. Time to act is now.
Wow, Pastor. And I said, who said the Bible can say we yemre the who be we are seeing now one and one cost you.
Time to act is now. It's very amazing, Elder, because this is a message. The same message, is gathering all political entities through the United Nations. This is a message through the same message, is gathering all religious entities. And Bible say there should be something. Things are happening. Now, said ye a idea, a very amazing said from every angle, and yema etikabom. Now we need so we a suma hodwa a wo we asia. Ya womo mo ye atheists. Now my dear to say omo ye atheists. Womo kra no they are part of climate change agenda. But minka omo ho asemonde. But for the rest of the presentation, me per se ye share denominations are a work Christosomo. Denominations a work Christosomo. Yana ya share beyond denominations yawo esuma hodo yawo nkremosom yawo Sikh yawo Bahai yawo sasmu ni nyina omo so de na yehwe kwan a safo ni nyina so collectively they have agreed to pursue the same agenda. Now a very amazing to be pese yehwe eno edit waso na muma ni kan na yehwe Parliament of World Religions. Na yenhwe die womo eye about die ye ka ehon asemu ende ye ka Parliament of World Religions eye ewiase nyina different religious traditions say ye won kremosom eye religion, Hinduism eye religion, Christianity eye religion. Na safo ni nyina no, it goes back to 1893. To 1893, and as a suma who doing world religions nano, omushia September 11, 1893, was Chicago. And now womuji tu muse, womu pese omuka omu bom na omu pursue some things. Mami reading from their own website and near momu person and sakrampo na media babesi babia ye woni de eka hwaseboyi. Entino Parliament of World Religions, and I said the world's religions, okay, or more website, or more edisuadi who see woman so. Goni Beka say a vision. Kai say in Kremofo womb, Christopher womb, Abefo, a womb be, your weekends, Satanists, any whatever religion be Omuna a woman be. In fact, Omosha Sieno, not a being Kahon, but 100 years later, 1993. Ebra omudi 100th anniversary and a before the weekend is happening in a movie. Omo vision ye or say a just, peaceful and sustainable world. Ye peria sibia ye beye just bibia beye pepepe ye benya asumdue any sustainable world. Later ye beye ecumenism any interfaith dialogue where ye may share a fakitwe bia a fa climate change na we the end time Tower of Babel. Babel a basu Genesis no. This is the last day Tower of Babel Nkremofoɔ, Buddhifoɔ, Christofoɔ, yɛn nyinaa no ni nyinaa kabom to pursue peace ɛne nneɛma ɛbɛma ɛbɛsustain ewiase. Now, what is the mission? Mission here to cultivate harmony among the world's religious and spiritual communities. Say yebenya asomdwie na sa faith traditions ahodo nyina no be baako. Adofo ebede na Christofoɔ ɛne abeifoɔ etumi atena tent baako ase na ya pursue common goal. Well, possible because it is in Revelation chapter 18, end time Babylon led by the papers, or say halfway be free engineer one to pursue harmony to foster engagement with the world and its guiding institutions to address the critical issues of our time. Engineer ma ekos no omobebua na omo address sa enema ni nyina na ebra Laudato Si ba yedo. Laudato Si, so they responded to Laudato Si. What was the response of the Parliament of the world's religions to Laudato Si?
Pastor Oko Esono, to say Adia a wohono, and ye say a secret, a wohwa, say, with me ako kind, said the Bible no, a kind pepe, as far as a world parliament of a kahu and yema near me, he say ye secret cry, and yemanina, the hope if he said the trust and mukano.
Yabi, on say the beauty of times are a woman, ABM, baby baba. And then maybe you hold more, you be ye flu. Got China, Sisia Casino, China Shashi, Perseodim, Rabbi Bar, our China, or more limited internet usage, any the obit ma says it. Yenny the baby, I just sabrino. Sanema Yakan was seminano, and you sumo, they are all available. Be your person or Ribiano. And Chidemaya SM try to provide the internet address to them. And I said reference no, said the Beya will be per se. Or to me, echo reading more. And I will encourage people to go and study more because other for them, I was saying, you need be a yet air cost was say. Today, be a ya green and baby, but important things are happening now. I will say, ya green Russell. Now, or more responsible to United Nations, a bra now almost to Asia, a Yasi Sudifua, man, your phone penny for presidents, no, the statement of the parliaments of world's religions, no. And who address now with the atosono obi person will access here. You can look at this document and then assess it. Now me person me read the book akra. Or say na no, we are talking about the leadership of Pope Francis. The Vatican, papers here. Bible say he is going to take the leadership and direct and never will or say the parliament invites all individuals and organizations in joining us to endorse an interfaith climate change statement being delivered to United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon at the signing of the Paris Agreement statement ceremony. To account was a working group leading the coalition. Leaders are Omudi Edimu Yinano or can a home assem. Now, what was a document, a statement or release your say. Caring for the earth is our shared responsibility. Each one of us has a moral responsibility to act as so powerfully stated by the Pope's encyclical and in the climate change statements by Buddhist, Christian, Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, and other faith leaders. Baby Amanda Lino is very important. Once again, they are rallying around the call of Pope Francis to vigorously pursue that climate agenda. Vatican was set it, knowing the intentions and the and these things are a Parliament of world religions, Hindus, Muslims, Sikh, apart from some Kabomono, Obianso are making the separate statements. No, a brain to mean to me and Kosubaku bet, say Minakwaya, Ebia may read Bakwana Bidubi, 18 a yadia, or Munina Kabum to pursue this. On my Yahoniama. Na one and so a decided way command the United Nations leaders say we stand together to urge all heads of state to promptly sign and ratify the Paris Agreement. And nema a forceful, a powerful, politics, religion. Now, religion is very powerful. And the question say, this is Pope Francis's religious agenda. And now, Wells political leaders or Masum, and now Wells interfaith religious leaders in Swasum, and Omo Kachire Amandofone said, we are urging you to stand together. Namun ratify. This was the immediate response. Yet, 22nd April 2016. Now, there was another interesting development. A Parliament of World Religions, MET year 2018, and also Vatican, Arabia, or that your friend, dicastery for promoting integral human development. Na sa Orano, your friend of Father Jostrom, Isaac Kuritadam, na ono ne representative Pope Francis, na messenger or deliver ye to the Wells Parliament of Religion. Me pesa wuti e bare 8 minutes entimi morning na ebrentino, but I will give the link to be pesa wuti the full statements na obetuma kwa kotie. Here again, you see the leadership of Pope Francis inviting all these bodies to be under the umbrella of pursuing our global. By the way, when him say United Nations, your friend say United Nations Sustainable Developmental Goals. So we call United Nations. That's and only climate change. The truth is a global world governance. And we are seeing a carbon one world order. Na chipono ebi na ye pone wo sa climate change. Et muma yentie Father Dostrom na yenhwe some important remarks are all making. He betie from the beginning no na me dey call obewie na some important remarks. Na unya time I will encourage you listen to the whole presentation no na ebebua ama ya chinyama se enti muma yenhwe de.
My dear sisters and brothers, a very good morning to you all. It's a joy and honor for me to represent Pope Francis, and I bring you his best wishes, blessings, and prayers. And to speak on how Laudato Si can respond to the climate change crisis. The very name that Pope Francis took, Saint Francis of Assisi. We know the conversion of Saint Francis of Assisi begins in 1205 when he walks into the San Damiano chapel in the outskirts of Assisi.
Okay, so then because a brain to no, but it's very important. The beginning remarks no, or say, Quaya Laudato Si. A bit to me, I respond to the climate change crisis. But the link na to so because me per se unya idea wow tie na wo hu se nema ye ka ho asem no e ya dia e ye serious na there is nothing to hide e ye bibia ye open or say we are see wo how and the manfo president no bia wo how enti die papa ka ye say Pope Francis our solution. Pope Francis our solution to solve climate emergency, climate crisis no our solution. We need solution no it ends on Sunday as a dear a bebua to meet all the various dimensions no of the climate crisis. Now he will appeal to look up to Pope Francis as the world's leader. Our bebua na me pese you heard the final part no. Now I will encourage you say said the link no ato a honomono enti moma yenhwe the final pass or the area the brain to said the beya ye betumi atwaso.
By now the IPCC report that we have the three scenarios and the average is the medium scenarios we have something like 12 years, so we don't have really time. And this quotation from Laudato Si, what kind of world do we want to leave to those who come after us? to children who are now growing up. And I want to conclude at the same time on a hope of note. Working at the Vatican in the sector on ecology and creation, last few years we see around the world a lot of initiatives, sort of coming up. And I personally believe that the Spirit of God is moving people, and God always inspires simple people. God speaks through, God chooses as his instruments simple people, and we are all simple people. And we say, if all the religions are to come together, we are more than 2/3 of humanity. It's such a power that we have. And in this era of planetary emergency, we need to come together as religions. We need to be the, thank you. And we have a very inspiring leader in Pope Francis. I come from India. I tell my friends, Pope Francis is the Gandhi of today, who can inspire people. And I conclude assuring the support on behalf of the Vatican and also on behalf of Pope Francis of all our support for our humble efforts, for the care of our common home. And I conclude for all the beautiful things happening around the world for the care of common home. Let's say, Laudato Si, may the Lord be praised. Thank you very much.
Well. Elder Nkobade Nati.
Pastor waka sembu ha say Gandhi of what? Chese em say bebre ehɔ no mesre na ka wa kyerɛ mu kakra ma bisan say wa make comparison bi wɔ na wo kasa kudu na wo bossa asɛm no so no. This is very interesting and serious.
Yeah, Pope Francis is the Gandhi of some movement and at times and it's or say well religions na world's population no 2/3 to fan kremofo over Hindu for and it was consistently he talks about Laudato Si and now all presented Laudato Si said dear or the solution to climate crisis no Pope Francis. And you know, you were 2/3 of the populations. You can't Southway in Abumwana, you can't say religions in Abumwa. Now, final appeal, no, you look forward, you look up to Pope Francis, the Gandhis of our time. Now, we name Gandhi Storia, or be a India for among ceremony, Candy Pabuan, and you know, and Yama way say, the Vatican has an agenda. And the Vatican is selling the agenda no to as if one politicians in any amanyofo obia religions in no they are making no bones, they are not hiding anything. Now idea all the facts are out there, they are available. They have an agenda. Agenda no is at the heart of it. Global governance, global leadership, and also enforcement of Catholic social teachings. Sunday legislation is he began the talk with Laudato Si, remember, and he ended with Laudato Si and Pope Francis. And Ebia and Saname, and where world religions, Tibebia ye incremofo hobby, Hindu fo hobby, or one making different statements in support of the Yekin, Baumina Kabo Muno, way a Nema Ecoso. And Tiafina, what about evangelicals? You were Ifo Methodists, you were Presby, you were a New Year Christian denominations, and also they are on board. Now, I know the next stop I ever by my name Ebiana or any comment to be on some world religions there.
Yeah, interestingly, Pastor Obeko na you say who say ye can't sa and sorry who do our shasia abubodina. Are they fully aware of Sanyamaya? Wamudi omhuajim en hampu ebi crowd be hunu crano na bia general conference kwa yenso no ye wo rep bi no no so ni na mu bisa enti sa afo yi kobe nyina no any said the Bible no sa political leaders ne religious leaders ahodo ekosu are they fully aware of Sanyama Nimeyana?
Well, maybe we will leave that question for another time. But me can't comment here. A dean comes a council. Now it's very important because things are happening but people are not aware. Kai say, Bible say, the final crisis, no, the word that we use was so better than we are seeing. Or say, sir, Vatican, America, coalition, Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar, or so better than we are seeing. And you know, there were a lot of people, they have a good intention. Oh, we are fighting climate change, temperature control. Yeah, yes, but they don't know that there are more things beyond this.
Right.
Eventually, no, people will be deceived. And until as 7-day Adventist, Nyame am I in the privilege not only to understand the real issues, but also to open the eyes of the world. And you know, you see, the evangelicals then so omonso aka yen ho abom no na omonso kwan a womo so a they are also playing into enema ekoso yi said ye be ya ye benya the full picture no.
Sure.
Yeah, we evangelicals na ye wo organization bi a ye frɛ no World Council of Churches. Now, World Council of Churches no in 1948 and a World Council of Churches no in fact there were councils be 1910 and there were conferences ahodoɔ because so I was Stockholm because so Lausanne and I say Switzerland and kini nyinaa no ekokɔ so na enema bi twintwɛn mu say Second World War no 1939 to 1945 ni na be twintwɛn nneɛma name nti after the Second World War no and definitely World Council of Churches no ebegina hodom na eno nso no nyame ya adoma ye besua World Council of Churches no because you talk about ecumenism any in sorry makika bom any what is the goal sorry na kika bom ba no enumedie enye no ne beka ho asem ba de beka ho asem ye World Council of Churches no nso aka Christopher nyina hyase no wo nso their role and how they are all connected with that idea ekosu. So we call World Council of Churches on my website. It talks about Laudato Si. Now, because Laudato Si enhances churches and people's care for our common home. The World Council of Churches welcomed Pope Francis's encyclical Laudato Si. Now, this is very insignificant. Now, the entire way is significant. You say the reformers, the entire yebenya evangelicals, any Protestants, any reformers, the idea say the papers, is the end time Babylon, Martin Luther Kanye, John Knox Kanye, John Wesley Kanye, John Calvin Kanye, into evangelicalism. Woman now founders woman ni papers ni motiteye because the papers the harlot of Revelation. But this is woman chiriba afede woman papers yakabom to do and yema hudu nyina and welcoming the role of Laudato Si and the leadership. Adentina etumi basa enye ye wanwa edisem na tire du miensa ne say the ho be ye wiase nyina wanwa and all these faith connections na no be baso na eye through in dada ne hyase se wonu kwan ye fa so a World Council of Churches hyase any name bi a ya anya omode fa the back door be yo wawa ba nyame ya domo a ye behwe eno but you they said they can such churches here some time ago omuka said there be the trust America for papers in one yen to be no more income and then they have gone back now owura a year almost secretary no Reverend Dr. Olaf or say there is no time to waste and there is no time to wait and no about a buzzword there is no time and interestingly from politicians say there is no time. The time to act is now. Parliament of religions, there is no time. The time to act is now. So we share World Council of Churches, there is no time. The time to act is now. And the world is truly presenting a united front to pursue an agenda. Now, my member video, now you share one of the things that and also World Council of Churches of course was said we can have all these to really help us understand and grasp the year can was no. Now when you know a tiny bit of information I mean no share no. I will encourage you BBR to go and read more and research more. No who and yema koso eweye bremo a ye ka ho asemi.
There is no time to waste. There is no time to wait. The wisdom we need now is to move ahead. That Fiji is now responsible for the presidency of this COP meeting shows that it is not only an issue about the future, it's about the world today, it's about the people suffering today, it's about us. The Paris Agreement was a great achievement, but only if it is implemented, only if the hope that it was giving is developed into some real steps of change, of transformation. The politicians and the governments, but also we as civil society and churches, we have to work together to do this. I'm sure that we can. I'm sure that the world is able to change, but it takes wisdom, it takes also courage, and it takes energy, and I would say it takes faith. We have to believe that we can. This is God's creation, and God has given it to us to make sure that there is a space, a home for everybody, but also for those who shall live here after us. The culture of Fiji is present here. It's a culture of life. It's a culture of celebrating the gifts of life. Let us all participate in that with responsibility and giving hope to the world and its future.
Well. This is also organization a World Council of Churches, and they are also speaking the same language. There is no time to waste. The time is now. Now you will see and you will hear that buzzword, solidarity. Solidarity. It is a buzzword running through Sanemanina. Any as we look into economics, the great research, any economy, any you hear these words: solidarity, fraternity, solidarity, fraternity. Things are converging. Things are converging now. It is everywhere. The handwriting is on the wall. It's everywhere.
It's everywhere, Pastor. I says, okay, we're a council of churches. Yeah. Nanka Enra, Nanka Yane, Pope Nini Pie, and the Yokushia, I say, agenda was set in so teen and Numasema, or say, as I see you implement it. Now, to me, I ejuma. This is mind blowing. Say a Christophone could just assembia, said the Trosem Casse, Nehunina be we are saying one. Enti oka obo wakra I say a young one wo if you are seeing for him to have come out with that document when baby ekoshemu as I say implement I say the adwuma your common goal so to say the okay and not just say indeed there is no time say if say baby or why yes as I say yeah as I say yes that yes ya no say there is no time there is no time na Yesu papa
Okay. Mede babeko wie no na me wo statements ahodo from Hindus, from Muslims, and all these religious bodies. Now I will encourage people to read more and find out. Say the world has a common platform a unity we are seeing to pursue an agenda set by the Vatican. Climate change, enema air coswo, enema bebre are being done. Some of them in themselves they are not bad. Say anyway and find a way, but it goes beyond that. There is a real agenda. Nina no a woman I will say even as we want to understand end time events. na my main kind quotation being na me who say there are some questions we were charging him. Now answer na make some questions na we charging no. Mami already this final word as we wrap up on world religions, are very, very important and it's something that we need to understand. Unim, okay, kind testimonies to the church, volume 5, page 452. Or say the Sunday movement is now making its way in darkness. The leaders are concealing the true issue. And many who unite in the movement do not themselves see whether the undercurrent is tended. Its professions are mild and apparently Christian, but when it shall speak, it will reveal the spirit of the dragon. It is our duty to do all in our power to avert the threatened danger. Or say, kusiada movement no a yenim ayakwa ho asem no nam eye adwuma ewo sumu na de nti eye sumu no omo di enim no they are concealing the true issue. They are not letting the world know what the true issue is. Womu de see to reading ladder to see technology way but at the back no the true solution just from Kojina World Parliament of Religion to present to them say ladder to say enna Pope Francis enna ye the answer. The true adieno say papers benya to me na neme bi a ye no be enforce including Sunday legislation they are being consumed. Omuye niema kasaboko Christopher ayekabomni we say but or say niema we nyina to turn the the system will speak like a dragon. Your bribia was a ye betumi a yende. Or say Protestant churches maybe ye tia who and our tiwa who free papacy. Who can kind of controversy 565 or say the Protestant churches are in great darkness, or they would discern the signs of the times. The Roman Church is far-reaching in her plans and modes of operation. She is employing every device to extend her influence and increase her power in preparation for a fierce and determined conflict to regain control of the world, to establish or re-establish persecution, and to undo all that Protestantism has done. To say Protestant churches, though, in the years so papers was one or see they are in darkness. Count be who near my coswo. Now, woman, sorry, no, ne plans any quanya or ye not dear no, or when the chile, na or planning wetry, na dear or ye no, and the one or Casaboko to all these agencies for a fierce and determined conflict to regain control of the world. Now, no, he is appealing to world leaders, and they are looking up to him as a leader. He's appealing to Parliament of World Religions. He's appealing to World Council of Churches, all these entities. A bit to regain control of the world. Bible says there is going to be a resurrection of Sa and Yemano. Na ebesan so ababiem. The last year me reading you or say God's word has given warning of the impending danger. Let this be unheeded, and the Protestant world will learn what the purposes of Rome really are, only when it is too late to escape the snare. When Yamiasen, what can be a baby? Na senipa entia na Protestant world entia na obu oni gusua Roma ende o kasa bokoa pile no ebrankofuo enhu the true purpose ene di obeye no na aye too late. And if all these leaders kase now is the time, we can't wait. Minia no mo nyame aboa ye na wadan the chimu poedi. Na yehu, we are not denying say climate change, temperature. That's not the issue. But this is a movement with a motive. Na onyame na ebie enebebie ne so. Said ye be ya ye beti ase na yama wiase hu. We should not wait. Say ye train maniema we nyina bana say ebe musa anase ebe wia ye catch them nkofo no emfaso bia mbaso. This is the time to let the world know what is going on and what is coming to the end. Obi busa question bi menim say obi busa the question na we will say
sure,
obi busa.
Pastor. Yeah, to Shema na the question ni jina so say yeah in our attempt to say share a message a course of prophecy ni emuniema da opese wo hu say who be here say Yesu and ye be kan and I say e bia prophecy no and yedeko. I think it's more of the method say in our attempt say pese ye share no quite ben ye so and share message, you know. There is Christ that we have to project to we are seeing or say a man so but we are seeing a there is a prophecy in us for so it's more of the method, you know. How do we approach say yeah share message, you know, Christ first, the prophecy, or what?
You cannot divide Christ and prophecy, and you cannot divide the gospel and Christ and prophecy. As a matter of fact, okay, Revelation chapter 1 or can't say me or Revelation chapter 1 or say Revelation chapter 1 or say the revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave him to show his servants things which must shortly take place. He sent and signified it by these same name I can was a minano. And you when yame yes who a decent and now we are singing there is Christ in every one of these presentations.
Yes.
Now the message and yame and family panel your friend a three angels message.
Yes.
As we take a name away one by one, yebebaso. Angels message no or see jedi kan pa no or catch the wiase nyina say munsuo nyankopon na munhye ne monyam. Now see some message in your friend said the everlasting gospel. And the gospel of Jesus is present at the heart of the prophecy because a worship the yebesomo the obo ade yen somo no Yesu or say boba be so member ni pe na ba Yesu. And you know that is the one side of the prophecy centered on Jesus. And at this same Jesus, you know, or say, yen sound country man saying, say, apart from one Jesus, there is a false coalition, Babylon.
Right.
Now, Babylon are here, say, na yen sound for warning, and for many passe, nipa free the moon feet, na nipa koji, na church, and in Yamana, when Yamibu for Baniso, and there is no division.
Yes.
There's a ye no ntumi can be at one time. And ye fa niema bako. Ye fa one topic, ye we na another topic. But there is no division between prophecy. Ni nyina about Christ. Worship is about Christ. Revelation is about Christ. The warning is from Christ to warn the world and to point out the alternate to true worship. You know, and you know, ni nyina e can be and as we share this with others, no. The question that arises from this is, what next? And it's a yen su nyankopon. Yen fa ye hu entu nyankopon mum so. Na yen su no. Worship God, glorify him, fear him. That is the everlasting gospel, and that is the heart of the gospel. And the prophecy and the gospel no, any years no, one piece.
One piece. And rightly said, it's said, the it's about worship. Bonsam ready no kind deception what's say one of these days, you know. Obesaba now we are shedaba beka end time deception ahodwa bonsam ede eko ewiase. In those say there came down is about worship. In fact, they are to say Sunday law wasn't into which is still part of the three angels message I can wasn't, which is the present truth said you can say eko abontini. A big picture. As I say, yetimi huni na ya approach each aspect of sa asem holistically. Na idea ko that's a pastor. Say in the interest of time, no, ya be say yedi ene die no ebesi ahase. nyamemba yedamase pa ebre ekoso no se questions ni bebre wo ho no a we would appreciate say bi wo ho a mo betimi e de amaye ekire kura no a ni nyina na yebekeka ni nyina bom na pastor ba wetimi aka eho asem ye bebre wo ho na questions ni bebre ba kura na yentimi ansa memende wia yebetimi make provision na ya shed assign akom aya na fiada no most of the time say yensen kan questions na we want to be able to give as much information as possible yebetimi ede enchechemune questions ahodo bi afrem said ye pastor bewie no na ensembusa ahodo bi a yewo bia no yetumi ayia no etibemu bebre no saa na yebeta ehu ne fiada de se bibi ekoso yaka ne previously na se entiase makra o ma yehu a ni nyina no yebeye hu adwuma na next presentation pastor diaka pastor ne watwe ya dwene asiade bi a very important. In fact, ni can worship oneself, and I can religions, world religions, and ye can climate change, and a Sunday law. This is big. And a year who say yen a Christopher be nyasa ni me muntiasie. Na yetime the light no, and so ama eviase. Say na say oh bonny top from ama ye name rea. Closing remarks ewo ene addition yina so.
Madam, that's me. Say the Eddie kind no, and the ma air cost no, it confirms the name say a no Babylon, a coalition of politics, religions, any other things. And the Eddie kind no, a confirms no. The Tosumi no, and my who say, as Seventh-day Adventist, we are not like Bibiasa. God called us and gave us a special mission. Say yeni afufro enche. Kai say people must make decisions. Say the beya yenda da womo. China the three angels message no. The second angel's message and the third angel's message no. It presupposes to say in conform one tia sebi or modi making decisions. To okase Babylon can say wahrias ya. Babylon wanya na say minum Babylon. Any Babylon wahrias ya. And ye also be koji ninsa and I'll be ekoji the wine of Babylon. If I don't know Babylon, what is the wine? It is our responsibility. Say ye share sadden with others. Ebra presented the everlasting gospel no about Christ or ye creator ye no na anyone say ye di agree ya kumenya could be because worship is eventually the wutien. The pass about ufa any allegiance no a hot and our worship war. And you made the is confirm say a young passe things are happening now the coalition no eso. The next thing na nyamiya do beka ho asem no on say ya share politics anyhow political entities United Nations any entities in and then ya share religions by end time Babylon no sounds to a commercial aspect ko Bible ka edwadifuo esikafuo any sadema no. What is that component and also playing it out? How is that playing out? The billionaires and the companies, like I said, the banks. Anyway, what role are they also playing? Number one, in our next presentation, you say the picture is big and all-encompassing. Now, these entities, they are also right in the middle of the agenda. Benjamin Yadomwa, in our next presentation.
Pastor, that's why we can't wait for next week. Say, Odessa, Sunset, Yakika Konwa here, who said Ben, but Bibiaki is like everybody, Obiano, Untimi, and you who free, Sanya Meko. And I said, okay, and Bible says, and in some by Hosiamai in Premier Kuma, name no say, Bema Konkono Quine, now why you Mujumana at me, aye, Yamia Duma. A year that's and so your best friend may adum now my choir with this addition ya brain. Your best pastor now what to ye ashe unyamensa. Sanya majina ya dear and we do power penny or the question about no say pastor or that's a pa said ye we see a church mu a year question now ye can't was no opinino any asopa. To your best him say air cause say in and bebre a nya and tia scientists yes let's say nyame enye ya dom na yentumi nya saa entiase ne ye tiase si ya na yebetumi ne adofo etumi ache asem no said wo kan tie besrew na wo hira dwumadi isu nyina amaye humeda yi wasrew nyame nsem adom ne hira so amaye.
Yo, any empire. In Yankupon Yadawa say, Kwaya would do nipa any other samano, a mood do na yen to mean tiasia da. Adam poye boneno, awo pamono, osayen kwajen shishaye kwai. Sodom ni Gomorrah, omuye yesem na ekwase wose wompono, osama Abraham eplidiye. Noah ene ne generation ebra bonenti na wose wodi nsure se wiase enum mpono, osama Noah soreye. Adasa nyina ye boneno a na oseye ne seye no uma Yesu bewuye. And you know, on every single page of history, Yehu say what for God so loved the world. For God so loved the world. Said the Nyankopon do wiaseni has been engraved on every single page of history. Unyankopon ye dawase for what do. A won pese will be a best say. Oh, ye near my dear chile, if we say what do ye. Gedi kain pa no what some chile say. If we know say all these things will happen, what manner of men ought we to be? I will say a chinase a wakun ye any ahotiemu. If we say ye nim say what some ye no cre. One person will be a beggar and your neighbors, they need to know what is going on. Your friends and loved ones, they need to know what is going on. Me bompire the real politicians in our sha. Most of these politicians, no me pompa is be a woman. These presidents, be a woman. Said they will not be intoxicated by the wine of Babylon. They will understand the true issues. Na anye too late. Said will baby a pesa wujini biano obenya nkwaje. Yet that was for the privilege to know these things. Should I homide? Nama ya yonko fa ye no wono emu enya den kese se bibi nti ye ne wontemu wa fa ye bone ne mratu na echeye na draw ye close to you na ye na Yesu na se ewo no kremu mu ene osompemo ye dawase dwume bio ewo Yesu de mu nti amen.
Amen. Yo tie for ye da unyina basnya ye da nyame ase nyame ya adoma da sende 7:30 ye be hyiemu ye da mase.
I had a board meeting.
But your board members say you be hyiemu sesi e wo ye line so ye free here